So today we're going to be talking about how the PlayStation 5 has been doing in the year 2024. Actually, no, I'm kidding. We're going to be talking about what I did at Anime North 2024. Or Anime North 2024. Alright, well, time to head on upstairs to my room, and I shall discuss what I did on day one of Anime North 2024. Yeah. Alright, we're almost there, but before we start, I wanted to show off my copy of PD Ultraman Battle Collection 64 for the N64 once more. In the box and all. This was the first game I bought at Anime North 2023, and, well, here it is a year later, still going strong. Alright, let's continue. So, what happened? Well, typically on Friday, I leave my house a little bit later since the dealer's room doesn't open until 5, and really nothing goes on indoors until 5, so yeah, and I don't really have any reason to show up that much earlier, so yeah. I got there. Badge pickup, I found out, was in a different spot this year. Typically, it's in the same room where they have guest autograph signatures held, but in this case, it was in the Toronto Congress Center North building. You know, that building that is, uh, like halfway surrounded by a freaking glass window with black beams and whatnot around the glass or whatever. Hey, if you know, you know. So that was definitely different. I went to go get my badge, and then I went to go to Harvey's to eat, and like last year, I wanted to see if my friends Jimmy and Brian were going to be here at the con this year, and they both were. Brian, like last year though, only was there for Friday, and Jimmy, I didn't get to see Jimmy until day 3. To jump the gun here a bit, he showed up for all 3 days, but very late into Friday and Saturday. That's what he was telling me. And then on Sunday, I finally actually got to see him. And I actually got to see him longer compared to 2023 and 2019, where I only really saw him at the front of the Congress Center for, like I hung out with him for roughly 40 minutes, half an hour, something like that those years. But this time I actually got to hang out with him a bit in the dealer's hall and whatnot. I'll save that a little bit more for the day 3 discussion. But for day 1, yeah, like I said, went to get my badge at the TTC North building. Then I went to Harvey's, and then I got in contact with Brian some more, and I was like, "Where you at, fam?" And yeah, then I told him that badge pickup was in a very different spot this year, and then he told me that they probably did that in some way to like make lineups less of a burden, I guess that's what he was saying. So there's that. So, like last year, Brian brought his sealed copies of Link the Faces of Evil and Zelda the Wand of Gamelon for the CDI. Copies that he just so happened to find at a Value Village. But this time he brought in more sealed CDI games, which I will throw up a picture of. Yeah, and he also had a couple other things, like he had Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Silver version. Here's my copy of Pokemon Silver, just for fun. Yeah, he also had, Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt, Multicart, uh, 2 copies of Mario 2 and Mario 3 for the NES. Long story short, he did not end up trading in anything because either vendors were lowballing him or they just couldn't realistically take this stuff in because CDI is very specific and a hard sell, and it's like, well, we're going to give this guy all this trade-in credit slash money. How are we going to make our money back or even make any profit out of this? Because even though, again, those sealed Zelda CDI games are very poggers and epic, again, it's kind of a hard sell. Unless you throw them up on eBay, but, you know, yeah. But unlike last year, he did actually end up getting some games. Only 2 of them. He got Odin Sphere on the PlayStation 2, and the Japanese version of Secret Agent Clank for the PSP. So, yeah, like, he was interested in other things like Haunting Ground for the PlayStation 2. He could have got that with some trade-in, but yeah, he really wanted, and understandably so, good money for those trades. But hey, at least he got some games this year, unlike last year. But that was Friday. It was really just hanging around with him, walking around the dealer's room, shooting the shit, whatever, all that jazz. And then he left the con around 10-ish. He had to go pick up his girlfriend, and otherwise, I would have hung out with him a little bit more at probably like the Delta Hotel. Maybe we would have checked out a panel or two, but really, I just went home, and I got home around 11:30 p.m. So yeah, that was day 1. You'll see more of that in the footage, of course, but yeah. But speaking of panels, panels was definitely the big focus on my mind for Saturday. So day 2 starts and it's raining in the morning. Oh, did it ever rain in the morning? I go to the dealer's room, I hang around there for like 3 or so hours, and then I start going to panels. Shortly after last year's Anime North wrapped up, I was talking with my brother about my experience there and whatnot, and I was talking about, yeah, want to see some more panels and whatnot, and he recommended that I check out the 404s, a improv comedy group, and I was like, yeah, okay, next year I will check them out, and well, next year is now this year. So I did go check out a few 404 shows. The first one I checked out was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which basically it was a case where people would go up to the microphone and ask a question, and the 3 people there would be giving out a response to that question, both the good, the bad, and the ugly, hence the name. So you would get like a good response, a bad response, and an ugly response. People would rotate out from the table, so it wasn't just the same 3 people giving the same uh, sort of answers. Like you'd get different perspectives and whatnot. While I was there, there was a lady there with a camera filming and taking pictures for quite a bit of the panel. I don't know if the entire thing from start to finish was recorded by her, so as a result, you should be able to see this somewhere on the internet. But I did record my part, which you'll see what happened there. in the day 2 video, but basically I had asked what can be done for a character on The Simpsons named Herman to appear more often. He is a character that has been in the show since season 1, episode 5, Bart the General, and I think out of all the neglected Simpsons characters, the neglected recurring Simpsons characters, that is, he's the one that has the most potential. Like, he really has barely been used at all. At the time I'm recording this, June 2nd, 2024, season 35 just wrapped up. Herman doesn't even have 20 episodes in the show where he so much as says a single line of dialogue. He's had many cameos, and dialogue within like a crowd or whatever, singing or yelling, but in terms of dialogue to call his own, where it's very, very clearly him speaking up front and center, all that shit, yeah, less than 20 episodes. And to jump ahead a bit here, the bad guy there was saying that he was disappointed that I had not seen the second to last episode of season 35 of The Simpsons, because I have seen every other episode otherwise. I just have not gotten around to the second to last episode of season 35, which is called The Tipping Point. So, yeah. The next two panels I went to were just, well, there was the, What's That Game Diddy, a quiz show where basically you just listen to some game music for a little bit, and then you, say, yeah, it's from this game, it's from that game, whatever. It got a really late start, and I did not stay for much of it. I just sat there. I probably stayed for, like, at most 3 songs, and then I just went around and walked a bit around the now newly located Gaming North section of Anime North. It used to be at the Sheraton Hotel, but now it's at the TTC North, the Toronto Congress Center North building, where you also would go pick up your badges. I guess just because there's more space there, that's why they moved it, so yeah. So I walked around there for a bit, and then I went to a panel called Retro Gaming in the 21st Century. Didn't really get footage there, but they basically just talked about some various things like the fucking Mister and FPGA and basic things about like game collecting and speed running and whatnot. It was basically what you would expect it to be. There was also a giveaway for a Mister that I did not enter because I don't really have any use for one. I don't really need one, just I don't have use for one. So yeah, that was that. And then day 2 was wrapped off with another 404's performance. 404's Lightning and Thunderwear, which, as the Anime North 2024 book describes on page 18, and I quote, Anime North's famous late-night comedy show has returned, and once again it will be up to you to choose which performer will be the last to lose their pants and claim the honor of bearing the golden shorts. Now, this whole show was most definitely recorded, as they had big cameras on big tripods stationed in the ballroom, so you'll find it somewhere online, I'm sure. Yeah, it was entertaining, but yeah, there were indeed people taking off their pants. They didn't take off anything else beyond their pants. I mean, okay, maybe there were some shirts that came off, I think, maybe, but yeah, you get the idea. Well, now it's Thursday, June 27th, 2024, and this was something I didn't initially have on my mind while I was recording the recap session, but I've decided since then it was worth briefly explaining. So, while in line for the Lightning and Thunderwear show, the last person in line would be given a sign that says, "I'm the next person in line, the line continues with me," which would explain these photos. Yeah, I just figured that was worth explaining real quick. I had the guy in front of me take those photos, and yeah, look forward to seeing some more photos at the end of this Anime North 2024 series. Well, because my mind is all over the fucking place, I am splicing in some footage filmed after I initially started filming this recap session because I failed to mention this uh, while I started filming. Anyways, so, one plan I had for either day 1 or day 2 was that I wanted to watch The Great Mouse Detective. Last year, on day 2, I watched Oliver and Company, so just kind of keeping up with the theme of sorts. I didn't end up watching The Great Mouse Detective until May 30th because I just didn't really have the energy coming home from any of the days to actually go watch it. I basically would get home, like, shower, just chill for a bit, and then go to bed. And yet, for each day of the con, I ended up only getting around 4 or so hours of sleep, like 4.5 hours of sleep. So yeah, I didn't really have the mental capacity to sit down and watch it during the con, which, whatever. But, yeah, I did watch it May 30th, like I said, and, yeah, it's a great movie. Both The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company are great movies that are definitely worth your time. I don't really have any, childhood memories or long-term memories with The Great Mouse Detective, but I suppose one of which was in 2012 when I first saw the Simpsons episode The Great Louse Detective from season 14. I was like, "Oh, haha, I get it. It's a reference to The Great Mouse Detective." And one thing I had learned shortly before watching the movie was that in The Great Louse Detective, Homer's King of Mardi Gras outfit is very much inspired by Ratigan's king outfit that you see sometimes in the film. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, and The Great Louse Detective is also a great episode. Definitely worth checking that one out. And one little thing I had just thought of randomly in preparation for making this series of Anime North 2024 videos was, well, you know, Oliver and Company? What about Otakon and Company? Get it? Oliver and Company, Otakon and Company? I don't know. I look forward to going to Otakon one day. What can I say? There's one more thing worth mentioning that happened on day 2, and I mentioned this last year, but there's a guy I know on the Gatorbox Discord server. His name is Mr. Hades Flame, and he has a never-ending hate boner for Esdeath from Akame ga Kill. Uh, so last year I ended up taking some photos of an Esdeath cosplayer along with two other characters who I'm fairly certain are also from Akame ga Kill. I've never actually seen it, nor do I know much of anything about it, but yeah. So, this year, likewise, I took some photos of an Esdeath cosplayer just for him. Uh, Instances of me taking photos of cosplayers are very much few and far between. Like in 2018, I snapped a photo of somebody dressed as Laphicet and somebody dressed as Magilu from Tales of Berseria. They were together in the same photo. And then in Anime North 2023, I snapped a photo of somebody dressed as a Dreamcast VMU. So, yeah, I don't generally take photos of cosplayers, but this year gave me a reason to. Well, evidently, this recap session is not going to be filmed in one sitting, because now it's Monday, June 3rd, 2023. And what you saw was filmed the day prior. Anyways, so day 3, Sunday, comes about. I get up nice and early. I go to the Hall H stage in the TTC North building to attend another 404's presentation. This being the 404's Present Improv and You, an interactive workshop, which, as the name suggests, yes, was indeed interactive. You could also watch and spectate the stuff going on, but I chose to interact. I did not get any footage of this. It would be kind of difficult to, given that I was standing around in the action, whatnot. There would be various 404 members just there telling you what to do. Basically, like, for example, we would gather around in a circle, and one person would go whoosh, and they would keep passing that around. You would go whoosh, pass it around to the next person, right? And the next person would have to whoosh. That is, unless if somebody went like, whoa, uh, in which case the whoosh would go the opposite direction. Um, and this would keep going until the whoosh reached the designated 404 member. That would basically be like, okay, the whoosh is now mine, let's stop. Or there was something else where, like, we'd be walking around and we'd be given random commands like, oh, now act like you're playing volleyball. And many people would go like this. Yeah, hopefully you get the idea. Well, we just keep on changing camera angles and times of the day to get this recap session finished. Anyways, so after the 404's interactive workshop, which, again, thanks to my brother Lucas for recommending that I check out the 404's, so yeah, thanks again. But yeah, after that, I met up with Jimmy. I mentioned before, earlier in this recap, that Jimmy was at all 3 days of the con, but he showed up really late on Friday and Saturday, so as a result, I didn't get to meet up with him until Sunday. And when I did, thankfully, it was for a bit longer, unlike in 2019 and 2023, where I met up with him at the front of the Congress Center, and then we basically just like only really chilled for like 30 to 40 minutes. But I did meet up with him in front of the Congress Center again, but we did hang out a bit longer. One thing I had him do was I had him be my cameraman for two specific Anime North filming locations that I wanted to film. What I mean by that is I wanted to go to the filming locations of two Anime North videos from the past. There was Anime North 2010 by Crazy Kitty, which I did actually film that that specific section of the Congress Center in 2023's video. It's just that this year I wanted to actually film these filming locations with me in front of the camera. And in the case of the Anime North 2010 video, I wanted to focus a little bit more on that location longer, like do a better job of just pointing it out, and I believe I did. I mentioned the Anime North 2010 video, but that's actually the second clip that I filmed. The first one that I filmed was from a Anime North 2013 video, specifically Quap Cosplayer at Anime North 2013 by Pro Tech Productions. Which, yeah, you'll see how that turned out in the Day 3 video. I've had ideas of doing more filming location videos like that. In the case of Anime North, in the case of this year at least, I wanted to focus specifically on shorter clips that focused on one area of the con, rather than point out filming location spots of, say, cosplay music videos and be like, oh, this is where this cosplayer once stood 2 minutes and 35 seconds into this cosplay music video from 2016, for example. Or like look at longer Anime North like videos, like vlogs, right? That are like multi-part or at least 10 to 15 minutes long, and be like, oh, this is where this part of this Anime North 2011 video was filmed. This is what it looked like. This is what it looks like now. This happened 10 minutes and 13 seconds into this 15-minute video. I'm speaking hypothetically. These are not specific examples, but you get what I mean. Though that's not to say I wouldn't do something like that in the future. But this year I wanted to focus again specifically on shorter videos that were filmed in one specific area. Though if I were to do this for U.S. conventions, you would get a lot more. You would get filming location clips of, yeah, your shorter videos, specific parts of your longer videos, your longer multi-part vlogs, for example, and you might even get some cosplay music video filming locations. Probably not. Like, that's probably the least likely scenario for a filming location at a con. For a con filming location clip, I should say. So, yeah. So the filming locations were a fun idea. I did mention some differences that I had noticed between then and now, and I'm sure I'll have these videos in the description so you can check them out for yourself. But after that, Jimmy and I walked around the dealer's room, hung out, and whatnot, and then he went about his way. I got to spend at least 3 hours with him, if not actually 3 whole hours with him, so that was cool. With Brian, I got to spend 5 hours with him, so, yeah. Then after Jimmy left, I just walked around, did some last minute shopping, last minute sightseeing, whatever, and then I went home. Uh, yeah, I just wanted to get the recap session of this video done, and well, yeah, that's what I have to say for now. There are some other things I'd like to say, but that'll be that'll be saved for the intro of the day 3 video. I'll throw in some additional footage for you, but again, I'm glad I got the recap session done. That's what I did at this year's Anime North 2024. But let's get to the day 1 footage then, shall we?